wash my soul in the ocean, in the tears of God, I let it go.
Hello, my astrology friends and family. This is Lada from AstroLada.com with a quick update about the upcoming eclipse on the 4th of December, when actually the Astrology 2022 marathon starts with 15 world famous astrologers. It's going to be free on YouTube. If you want to join us, like every year, last year we had 1 million people that watched the marathon, all the interviews. But we're talking about the eclipse. And it's the last of its kind. I'm going to go through the 12 signs and what I think happening with the world. I'm going to make it a short video because I'm sickly, poorly. Having Saturn transiting your first house kind of makes you aware of your limitations physically, that you're not immortal. So yeah, forgive me if my nose is blocked and I'm sniffly. So this eclipse is a very important one. If you saw the interview we did with master astrologer Rumen Collet, who is also an esoteric researcher, he said that it might be like an attack of the dark forces because it's coming right, it's happening very close to the heart of the Scorpion, which is one of the most powerful points in the sky, one of the most powerful stars, Antares, which is a red color star, and the ancient gave it a very military, belligerent quality. So this eclipse really highlights and it's a new moon eclipse, which means something new can happen there because it is connected to military, it is connected to belligerence, like I said, and so it's a bit aggressive. There might be certain actions that are undertaken by the military or by the militia or by, or some kind of more aggressive actions. And you already are seeing it with protests happening and becoming more aggressive. But the dark forces, because it is an eclipse hides the light of the sun. The sun is the good forces, as you know. When it's hidden, it puts a spotlight and saying there that there might be, through the use of military or the use of force and power or the use of guns or something like that, or aggression, there can be a hit from the dark forces on humanity or on Earth, and something to be aware about a little bit, and actually this eclipse will be active for 6 months. Usually the most important event starts happening a few weeks before and the month after the eclipse, especially around the week or two around the eclipse. But its influence is 6 months to 1 year. So everything I'm talking now can have long-term influence on us, and we can see the beginnings of it around now. So in some cases, this eclipse can trigger military actions, as I said, something that is more dangerous, more aggressive, or kind of, I don't know, what is it called, like when the government imposes military lockdown, or I'm not sure how it's called exactly, the word came out of my head, but where it involves actively the military. On another level, because it's happening in the sign of Sagittarius, through the constellation of Scorpio. We use signs and constellations, signs of the local Earth zodiac. It's a tropical zodiac, it's very relevant. Constellations is a level deeper. It's the other zodiac. We have more than one zodiacs. And so through Sagittarius, tropical constellation of Scorpio, guys, it's there might be an attack on the truth. Scorpio rules truth, twisting of the truth. It is an eclipse after all, to hide something. Twisting of the truth. Twisting of Sagittarius rules, one of the signs that rules together with Aquarius, but altruism, human rights, the ideology of freedom as well. You've probably heard, oh, he's Sagittarius, he doesn't want to be tied in a relationship, they want their freedom. There is this on a deeper level, that the freedom of the spirit, being allowed to elevate your mind to higher heights, to use your higher mind, your high intuition. So there might be an attack on that as well, somehow. It is, after all, through this military star, there might be an attack from the dark forces, and there's been an attack from the dark forces on truth. It's constant, but it's like a bigger hit this time. But this will really pulverize to many people their beliefs of what is possible, their beliefs of their worldviews. Sagittarius rules also the humans' worldviews, their belief systems, and because the eclipse is happening with the South Node, which dissolves, which releases old patterns. And by the way, this is the last of its kind eclipse in Sagittarius. They've been happening for the last year and a half. Eclipses in Sagittarius and Gemini, the two axes. And the eclipses always bring the most fated events. So whatever is happening is by divine plan. And God works through his shadow or light players on earth. So don't freak out. It's part of the plan. And the higher meaning of Sagittarius is spiritual growth. It's elevating your mind and seeing things from a higher perspective. And this eclipse is the last of its kind in Sagittarius. So we had total change of our belief system in the last year and a half. How many people had, and because the eclipses in Sagittarius were happening with the South Node, how many people released their old cozy belief of what is right and wrong, what is moral and ethical, what is truthful and untruthful? How many people were challenged on that topic? There was a moral crisis everywhere in the world. Because Sagittarius is about those big questions. What's the purpose of life? What I want my life to be like? What's the reason to be here? Is there bigger forces behind this world? Is there invisible forces? Is there God? Is there, looking to see the world from a bigger picture? People were challenged to release their outdated beliefs. That's another push. So whatever happens on a material level in the world, and by the way, Sagittarius also rules international travel. What happened when the eclipses in Sagittarius started? Sagittarius Gemini axis, which is of travel. Sagittarius rules international borders as well. Well, it was all locked down. It started from the spring of 2020 and it's the last of its kind, but because it lasts 6 months to a year, it's a sign that is the last time there will be like more severe lockdowns. Countries will lock boundaries. It's happening already, the fourth or fifth variant, I don't know. It's like that. It's a big hit also on the travel industry. Sagittarius rules travel, educational industry. It's been kind of, because all those eclipses in Sagittarius have been happening with the South Node, which weakens and dissolves those structures. So universities, how many universities people are attending physically? The whole nature of higher education is changed. And the whole nature of education has been undermined, universities as well. People don't believe anymore. Sagittarius also rules the court systems, the legal system, the judge systems, the Supreme Court, the highest one. Do people believe that their rights being kept? Maybe some do. That's why this last eclipse has some more pulverizing of old beliefs and beliefs in those old systems. But there was also an attack on everything Sagittarius. Not only attack, undermining, it's the last thing of it, but it will carry for 6 more months to a year. Churches, people can't go to churches, many places, borders locking down, international travel, as I said, the high university education. Maybe an attack there or something like that. So you can see this in the world already. It's happening. But the silver lining of all this is always on a spiritual level, on an individual level, that humans are releasing outdated beliefs, especially in Jupiterian institutions like the churches that also manipulating people, the disappointment, the South Node, the North Node is like you really, you're not giving anything anymore. The educational university systems, the jet-setting lifestyle as well, and the Supreme Courts, those are Sagittarius. What's it called, institutions, and there might be some important developments connected with those areas as well. And on another level, let's say on a personal level, let's look through the 12 signs. I'm not going to take it too long. I can talk a lot more about this eclipse because Saturn is making sextile to it. So there is some kind of a stabilizing influence there. But let's look a little bit at the 12 signs quickly, how it's going to affect you. Because on a personal level, you always can make a lot more and have much better development done on a collective level. And I forgot to say, even on a personal and collective level, it's happening in the constellation. There is something called Yeshta, Nakshatra. Vedic astrology also separates the sky into 27 little nakshatras. Sorry. And Yeshta, Vic DiCaro describes it so great, one of favorite astrologers of mine. He describes that Yeshta is basically, from ancient books, is described as allowing your enemy to attack first and waiting out. They lash out at you, you don't respond. They lash out at you even more, you don't respond. You don't respond, and then you see the weakness. You know, this is the heart of the Scorpio. It's very strategic military action almost. You're sitting there and watching to see the weak side of your enemy, but you don't put your cards down to betray your anger. And again, you know, at the end, because they keep provoking, you're sitting, everyone turns against them. So they might be, what do I say? What I'm trying to say, on the collective level, it might be good to act like that, for people to wait for, you know, whoever you think is attacking you. Is it the government, or do you believe it's someone else? To keep pushing and pushing and pushing the way they're doing now. They're pushing, like, to make even mandatory for everyone, for people not to be able to move anywhere. They're putting more and more restrictions, pushing. You're not playing your cards down. You're holding your cards close to you, and you see where's the weakness. How crazy can the opponent go? And then you strike. It's like the Scorpion, you know. And actually, you strike only when there is a total outcry from everyone. You know, just like imagine someone is like beating a cat, hitting it, and people like, are you crazy? Even if they don't know that the cat might have done something to the person. But the same way, you let the enemy become so extreme and out of control and angry, you see their weak spot, and everyone goes on your side as well. So apply this in your life as well, in your personal level. Don't reveal your aces or whatever. Watch closely before reacting, because it's heart of the Scorpion Antares, where it's happening. It's very strategic energy. You watch to see the weakness of the other first, and then strike. And then actually you allow them to challenge you, to get angrier and angrier, and then their weak spot is revealed already. So do this in your personal life as well. But let's see for the 12 signs. And by the way, you can check out my 2022 videos and calendar. It's 140 pages, 140 or 20, with all the transits for 2022, all the eclipses, meanings, new moons, full moons, invisible planets, visible planets, and it's like a direction for the whole year, plus my personal videos for 2022. If you follow my work, you know, every year I do those. They're paid. I think they're $12, $13. I'm not sure how much they cost, for 2.5 hours for each sign. Anyway, Aries. If your Aries rising or sun or moon, this eclipse is happening in your 9th house. So very much about letting go of old beliefs and bringing in new beliefs. It's a process that's been happening for you for the last 1.5 years already. You might be even starting some new course of education, knowledge. Something can grab your attention, especially of more spiritual nature, to study, to learn higher knowledge, because Ketu is involved there. Or even there might be something in the next 3 to 6 months while this eclipse is active, like some very important development with learning something new, teaching something new, or some educational or teaching project, or higher knowledge project, or even something to do with traveling or foreign countries and foreign places, moving to foreign places as well, a new beginning that is happening, you know, for you there. And maybe a new teacher that can appear in your life, teachers or inspirational figures around that time, starting already from December to the end of, you know, to the middle of 2022. Okay, just a second. If you're Taurus and Moon rising, the eclipse is happening in your 8th house, which means there can be some powerful focus on finances, especially mutual finances, stipends, money coming to you from others, insurances, inheritances. the opportunity to get a loan or to do something important with the loan, or in a mutual combination with other people's money, funds, pension funds, or pooled resources, stock markets as well. A big focus on some very important, even critical developments connected to taxes or connected to eighth house is also the house of secrets. There can be some important secret that is happening in your life that is kind of coming to be resolved, to be completed, because Ketu is involved there, to be released from your life. Something from the past maybe that was buried, the secret thing that you become aware about. Also, eighth house is about intimacy, Taurus, so there can be some important, of course, eclipses can always indicate some kind of crisis connected to intimacy, but also a new chapter and releasing something that's holding you back to allow another to merge on a deeper level, but also starting a new beginning there of some sort on intimacy, on a very personal, homosexual level for some of you. Also, it can indicate deep psychological insights for some of you and breakthroughs and releasing of all baggage, luggage. Sorry about that. And also the beginning of some, for some of you, it might be beginning of some project connected to esoteric knowledge, astrology, the occult, or some matters concerning death that you have to deal with, death and rebirth, or psychological death and rebirth and transformation. If you're a Gemini sun, moon, or rising, the eclipse is happening in your 7th house, especially if you're from around 8-9 degrees Gemini to around 15-16 degrees Gemini. There might be probably a very new beginning in your relationships. You might be preceded by some crisis situation in your relationships, like a breakup with a very close person, friend, or marriage person, a big change in the life of a marriage partner. Or a business partner change, but also because it's a new moon eclipse, is the beginning of a new possible relationship, almost of a fated or partnership, so business collaboration or a contract even, or a business transaction of some sort that is very important for you. But those of you Gemini, some fated events in the next 6-7 months connected to relationships, to marriage, to business, to popularity and the audience and the public. If you're Cancer, sun, moon, rising, it's happening in your 6th house, the full moon, sorry, the new moon eclipse. There can be some crisis and endings and new beginnings connected to your work, like ending some job and starting a new job, in undertaking some new project, or some new health routine, and maybe some crisis with health that leads you to a new life path, new lifestyle, like exercise or working out or something of the like. Also, the 6th house is employees. For some of you, can indicate some crisis with employees or employment if you're employed. Also, change of job, but at the same time, it's something fated. You might start a new job that is more important or is more fated for you. Others can gain new employees and people that can work for you, that are very important for you as well. So if you're Leo, sun, moon, rising, this full moon eclipse is happening in your 5th house, which means, actually it's not so bad, but it can indicate that some of you are going to have some fated developments in your love life, some new beginnings there, undertaking a new romantic relationships over the next 5 to 6 months, for example, or might be preceded by a crisis in the romantic relationship with your marriage partner, boyfriend, girlfriend. So you can make some changes there. It can indicate undertaking of a new creative project that has more spiritual undertones, because Ketu is involved. Also, for some of you, it can indicate like a child that comes, or some very important developments in the life of a child in your life, or sometimes it can be a crisis connected to something with a child, but usually it might be a chapter in the life of your children, especially a new chapter in the life of the firstborn as well. Plus, as I said, new creative projects are very possible for Leos. If you're Virgo, sun, moon, or rising, it's happening in your 4th house, the eclipse. So it can mean new beginnings in your home, family. It might be preceded by an eclipse, by a crisis of some sort, more stress. It's an eclipse after all, emotionally you might feel quite flustered for you can feel it around the eclipse a few weeks after. There are big changes happening on the emotional level with you. with even some things that you're clearing from the past, from your childhood. Some of you might be changing place of living, selling, buying properties. Others might be adding a new member to the family, or someone, something else of the other sort. That's a little bit of a crisis situation with parents or family of some sort. But again, it's about new beginnings. Then if you're Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising, it's happening, the eclipse in your third house. There can be new beginnings in some commercial projects, some work in a small team environment that you're starting. That is important, that is very important for you for the next 6 months. Or it might be even some IT project, internet project, online sale, marketing, third house rules, all of those things. But it might also have some crisis with siblings, co-workers, workmates, relatives, mates of some sort. And also it indicates that you can create new such ones while releasing all such friends. You might clear up your social media, because it's Keto after all. It wants to clear up certain things, people, connections, interactions, social connections, but it will bring new ones as well. So there can be some crisis there. Just also be careful with short trips of any sorts, Libra. And because there might be, especially around the eclipse, a few days before and after, there might be some crisis situation around there, but it can also indicate that there might be a new vehicle in your life, or new possibilities for new third house rules, let's say new social media devices as well, and so on. Scorpio, the full moon eclipse is happening in your second house. There might be some powerful changes in your financial situation over the next few months, already starting from now. It might be a new project that you're undertaking for more financial independence while completing old ones, but also it can be preceded by some kind of a little bit of a crisis financially. Also, it can indicate changing your food style, what you eat, how you feed yourself, what you put in your body. And your self-worth, some big changes with your self-worth, self-value. How much do you think you're valuable? And family is also the second house. Sometimes it can indicate changes in your family when there is a new moon eclipse there. Then if you're Sagittarius, of course, this eclipse is happening in your first house, especially if you're around 12 degrees Sagittarius, so especially from 9 to 15, 16 degrees, you have to be a bit more careful about your health, because this eclipse indicates big changes around you, new chapter in your life, completing something old, starting something new. So quite pivotal on many levels. It might be a new project you're starting, a new lifestyle, a new appearance. If it's your sun in those degrees, it can be a new job or connected with a new male important in your life, new goals in your life. If it's in your moon sign, it can be new beginnings in your family, personal life, and so on. Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising, this eclipse is happening in your 12th house. It's more about releasing, letting go of the past, re-examining the past, and seeing what is worth keeping and what is leaving. But also it can be highly intuitive. You can have big, important dreams that tell you things about the future or about the past. You can have psychological breakthroughs of some sort. Sorry about that. I'm really short of breath with my cold. And also it's about, some of you might have new opportunities in foreign places if you're Capricorn, in faraway places, or even to start some endeavor that is more of the imaginative nature. 12th house is like something creative, artistic, or something in a foreign country with foreign investments in faraway places of sorts. But also be careful about attacks, spiritual attacks, or attacks behind your back, because remember this eclipse has kind of very heart of the Scorpion energy, which is a little bit about attack on the truth through Scorpio, and some kind of a underhand that hits behind you, or some self-undoing. 12th house can be self-undoing, whether it's addictions of any sort, some highlight there, some focus, some critical situation that leads you to end such kind of habits, or become very aware of the underlying conditions and change those habits. If you're Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, this is happening in your 11th house. It can indicate some new or some very big project in your life that you're doing over the next 6 to 12 months, that you're completing, or that you start already now, some big project that you undertake that can reach many people, that it involves a group of people working together. It can indicate a new socio-economic endeavor as well for you, like like something for bonus or for bigger salary, or new friends and connections that you form, especially with more spiritual tone or more idealistic tone. And you might also, though, because it's an eclipse, it can create crisis in your social economic connections or networking, so you can leave some friendships behind while making space for new ones that are more spiritually based. Oh, sorry about that. And then if you're Pisces Sun, Moon, or Rising, the eclipse is happening in your 10th house. It can bring new beginnings in your career, in your public image. Especially you can change your career, for example, over the next 6 months that is more aligned to your spiritual mission and goal, that is less selfish goals and more altruistic goals, because that's the nature of Ketu eclipses. But some of you might be preceded by a crisis, like letting go of a certain career path, of a certain career project, so you can embrace and new such ones. There can be a big change in authority figures around your life, father, bosses, and so on as well. Okay, so there you go. Thank you so much. Sorry, it was very hard for me to do this video. Something with my nerves and my breathing is very hard. It's not COVID, but it's been going on for a while, so I find it very hard to record. So thank you so much. Check out my 2022 videos and look out for the 2022 marathon in December. The 4th, it starts. We're starting on the eclipse, trying to counterbalance a bit the more intense energies that attack on the truth. We try and reveal the truth then. Thank you and see you soon.